Hi everyone, this is Andrea from Buttercup Beads. I'm going to do a series of basic stitches for you today, and today we're going to start with ladder stitch. It's a foundation stitch. There are some projects where you'll use this as a base. Usually you do start a herringbone project with ladder, so it's an important stitch to know. For today's demonstration, I just picked some bright big beads and some black fire line so that you can see where I'm going with this easy. And you can do this stitch in any shape, size of beads. It's just your basic stitch. So today I'm going to start with just a stop bead. These are 6 OC beads, but it doesn't really matter. This is just for purpose of demonstration. But when you start ladder, you want to put on a stop bead or a tension bead. And that's a single bead. It's a temporary bead. You're going to go up. You're going to put it on, pull it down to your tail. Go back up through it with your thread and pull tight, and you'll see that the cord just wraps around the bead, and it is temporary. It slides along your work. I use 8-pound fire line. You can use 6-pound. Some people use 4-pound. This is crystal, which is more of a translucent clear or white. And I'm working in smoke. This is has a graphite coating of some type on it. It's a bonded, fused or woven line. It's very strong. And then you'll need good beading needles. You can't use regular sewing needles because they will get hung up on the bead. So look for a good beading needle. In your toolbox you should have a size 10 and a size 12. You're going to find times when you're going to need both of them. So it's good to stock up on each size. Size 12 is smaller. That's meant to go when you're doing multiple passes through very small beads. Size 10 is the one I use most of the time, and I get through even the tiniest beads, but I do on occasion need the 12. They bend a little easier, so I'd prefer to use the 10s. They're a little stiffer and they make sewing a lot easier. Of course you'll need scissors, good scissors. And so we're going to start with just 2 ways to do ladder. There's a traditional way, and then there's a quick way that I've found out. And it's really nice when you're starting any of your projects. We're going to start with some even numbers. So ladder stitches consist of 2 beads per column. So you can see that 2 beads. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 columns. That meant I started with 20 beads. So we're going to put on 20 beads. 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'll just double check them. You do want to make sure you have an even count because remember it's 2 beads per column. Now I'm going to start with this is a quicker way to do it. And then I'm going to go back and show you the traditional way. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, why am I getting 21? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21. So I have 1 extra. Let me take that off. All right. So here's the fast way. Load on your total number. So if you wanted a 10... do your math. If you want 10 bead wide, you'd have to double your number, so it's 20. Anyway, for the first column, you have to go back 4 beads. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's the first 4 beads. My needle is on this end. I have my stop bead on, and you would go up beads 4 and 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm sewing up only beads 4 and 3. And it's going to leave those 2 loose. You're going to see that those 2 beads will fold over and stack next to each other. So now I have first 2 columns done. It's okay if we have some space here, but this is a quick way. So then you find your next 2 beads and sew up 2 beads, ignoring the other 4. Pull it down and fold them so they nestle right next to the first 2. Now I have 3 columns. And you're going to continue that all the way down. And every 2 beads you just sew up. It wants to curl up into a little ball like this, but you can straighten it out. Always keep your tension tight when you're sewing. Just because we're making handmade jewelry doesn't mean it needs to look handmade. So tension is always important. Here's my next 2 beads. And I'm working from my stop bead away, or working away from my stop bead, being here. This is a real quick way, so if you're doing this in a project that requires, say, you need 100 columns, you're going to be grateful for this technique. So up every 2 and 2. And think of it as rungs on a ladder. I think that's why they call it ladder stitch. If you turn this work vertical like this, you can see it's as if we're making, you know, step rungs. And now I have the last 2. So now I have a ladder quickly made. It's 2 beads tall and 10 rungs. And you can slide up your stop bead. And then a lot of times we use this as the base for herringbone, and I will be doing a herringbone and all the basic square stitch, right angle weave, all the basics to come, but this is a ladder stitch. Now I'm going to show you again, we're going to redo this, which we're going to do the traditional way. So that's one way to do it the quick way. If I wanted to do another one, a 5 bead, again, put on a stop bead. This requires a little bit more sewing. It's a little bit more stable. If you're using it alone, you'd have to make the decision to stand alone if you want to do it this way. Anyway, you start with 2 beads, bring them down, and you want to now pick up the next 2 beads. So into the first 2 beads, pull tight, and you're okay, Car. And we're going to go back down now. So we tied up, turned around, and went back down the new beads and pulled tight. Add 2 beads on your needle. Go back down the new one, pull tight so they stack. But you want your thread always at the edge of your work, not coming off to the side like it is here. So now I'm going to go back up the 2 new loose beads. So this is traditional ladder stitch. Pick up 2, go back to the 2 previous, and then sew back down the 2 new ones. You're sewing in circles. Pick up 2, go back down, come back up. Doing it this way, you have all the possibility to make this as long as you want. The first way, you kind of have to have it pre-planned, count out your total number of beads on your string. Pick up 2, go back down, step up, or reinforce it to the first or the previous column. And you can see that the columns keep stacking nicely. And you want to go back down. I'll deliberately make a mistake to show you what happens if you don't get your work at the edge. So if I tied my column in and picked up 2, I have nowhere to go. I have nowhere to sew. If I sew up here, they're going to end up on the outside. And actually, that's starting herringbone, but we'll talk about that in another video. So that's classic ladder stitch. And the first way I showed you is, I'm taking these off, the first way I told you is the simple. I'm going to end this by coming up. So that's ladder stitch. Give it a try. Do it in all kinds of different shapes of beads too. It looks pretty. It takes on new looks when you change up shapes and sizes of beads.